Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
Tuition hikes begin in and around Alberta. Could NAIT be next?
I wouldn't be here if NAIT raises tuition.
The launch of Black History Month's events and festivities begins.
Every day I look in the mirror, I see who I am.
And how a mother and daughter help solve a pressing issue with theft.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. With inflation and the cost of living on the rise, a lot of Albertans are worried about money.
And those worries are getting even worse for Alberta students as a wave of tuition hike is sweeping the province. Or Adam Dalkey joins us live from our news center with more on that story.
Thanks, guys. You know, calling a student broke is a lot like saying water is wet. You're not wrong, it's just weird that you feel the need to point it out. That being said, these days pretty much everyone is feeling how light their wallets are. Plus, when you take into account the proposed tuition hikes of at least 5% for domestic students and 6 to 7% for international students that's being proposed by some universities, kind of feels like some students just can't win.
It was a cold day just like this when, last week, U of A students came out to protest a proposed tuition hike. This was only 3 days after University of Calgary students held their own protest. In the past, tuition fees were frozen to keep them from rising, but that freeze was removed in 2020 by the United Conservative Party. It's been 3 years since then, and even though leadership of the UCP has changed, their approach to post-secondary education hasn't.
Will the minister admit that approving these hikes are a short-sighted, job-killing decision?
Tuition in Alberta is below the national average. I know the member from Edmonton Northwest the other day said that was inaccurate. I'd encourage him to visit a website called Stats Canada. It's usually pretty reliable.
With nothing to stop universities from raising tuition, students at other schools, including NAIT, have started to worry.
I know people that will have to work a lot more to pay and get by.
I don't think I would be able to live here in the city because I pay $500 rent and I don't make enough money doing minimum wage to, live in the house I currently live in.
I wouldn't be here if NAIT raises tuition. It's already expensive as is right now, and if they raise tuition, I think many students in this school wouldn't be able to afford it.
And you don't have to be a student to be worried about tuition increases. David Egan, advanced education critic for the Alberta NDP, thinks that these tuition hikes are going too far.
Many people cannot afford the cost of living right now. We have inflation that is exceeding 7% across the board. And so for students, they're hit even harder.
Mr. Egan went on to say that if funding hadn't been cut for schools in the first place, schools now wouldn't be needing to raise tuition.
Adam, I think the question on everyone's mind is NAIT going to raise tuition?
Well, it's kind of starting to look that way. I had a conversation yesterday with NAIT's VP External, Mr. Jody Goylander, and he told me that NAIT is in fact raising tuition this year. He expects that they'll raise it to the legal limit, which is just under about 7% is about the average. We're assuming that the prices will be less for domestic students than they will be for international, but at this point we just have to wait to see what those final numbers are.
Now, Adam, do we know when we can expect those increases?
Honestly, we don't really know for sure. Usually, NAIT announces its tuition about the end of February, but at this point we just don't know. We are keeping an eye on this story, so anything that comes up in the next coming months, we will report on.
Thanks, Adam. That's Adam Dalkey reporting live from our news center tonight.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch.
Starting next week, NAIT students have the option to receive the human papillomavirus vaccine here on campus. Students 26 years and younger can receive the vaccine free of cost. HPV is a sexually transmitted disease with no immediate symptoms. Officials say the vaccine protects against a strain that causes various cancers in both men and women. Approximately 70% of Albertans will have an HPV infection at least once in their lifetime.
Well, science shows that it is equally as important for men and women to get vaccinated against HPV. So anyone can get vaccinated here on campus if they choose to. And if they are 26 and younger, they can get their very first shot right here at the clinic.
The clinic runs Monday to Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Wednesday and Thursday in the North Lobby.
Women, transgender men, and non-binary individuals are speaking out about the lack of female health care provided in Alberta and the toll it has taken on their lives.
At Organon, we really believe that women are the backbone of a thriving and resilient society, and that everyone can really play a role in advancing women's health and gender equity.
The Alberta Women's Health Foundation surveyed 2,200 people in Alberta to understand their experiences seeking health care related to their pelvic anatomy. In Alberta, only 3.4% of health research funding goes to women's health.
I went to an alternative health practitioner in the area for help with other health issues I had going on, and that practitioner asked me to get a blood panel done through my GP at that time, and gave me a list of everything, which included a hormone test. And when I gave that to my doctor, he said I didn't need hormone tests because I was a woman.
Bridging the gap in female healthcare comes with research and support. If you would like to help advance clinical care at the Louise Hole Hospital for Women and other women's health centers across Alberta and beyond, visit albertawomenshealthfoundation.org and help to #refocus the research.
Say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud. This week, the City of Edmonton and the National Black Coalition of Canada kick off Black History Month events with an opening ceremony at City Hall. Every February, many across Canada participate in Black History Month events and festivities that honor the legacy of Black people in our city. This year's national theme is Ours to Tell, which encourages open conversations and continued efforts to learn more about Canada's Black communities.
Sometimes in the education system, we aren't seen in the textbooks, we aren't seen in the curriculum, we aren't even seen in the classroom. So it's important for us to celebrate these amazing events and Black History Month so we can continue to push throughout March, April, May, June, July, the rest of the months throughout the year.
The next community-based event celebrating Black history is Feed the Soul, a week-long culinary experience from Black-owned restaurants starting from February 10th to February 17th.
The Edmonton Police Service is revealing the lucky winners of the Catalytic Converter Challenge this week after an astounding 210 entries from around the world.
3,800 plus thefts. You know, every one of those thefts has a victim.
A mother-daughter duo from Edmonton has won $25,000 for their idea to deter people from stealing catalytic converters. The idea came to them after their own catalytic converter was stolen.
We've actually started the patent process already, and we are within days of getting the patent pending status.
I see my head cut off.
In the first 2 weeks of 2023, EPS noted 130 catalytic converters were stolen, and thefts from 2022 cost Edmontonians nearly $20 million for replacements and repairs. Edmontonians can look forward to seeing the foil and fence deterrence in as little as a few months. Coming up after the break, we take a look at our first question of the week of the season, and we want your opinion.
And we also take a look at a hockey coach who laced his skates back up.
I'm Omran Wahidi. Dreams become a reality for the Edmonton Oil Kings' newly named captain, and the Ook's hockey record is about to be broken. I have all of that and more coming up in sports.
The weather is really crisp right now, and there's still lots of snow on the ground. And with it having been Groundhog's Day yesterday, we have the question to answer: will spring be coming a little sooner than intended? Find out more on weather coming up.
Wow, the weather's getting nicer, and I, for one, am super happy to be hearing the birds chirping again.
Likewise, like physically, I'm here with winter, but my mind is with spring.
Me too, absolutely. Hopefully our Tristan Mottershed has some good news coming up with the weather.
Well, I've got some good news and some bad news, Sienna. Although we're expecting warmer weather in the next few days, Groundhog Day tells a different tale. We're expected to have another 6 weeks of winter, as the groundhog did see his shadow. However, the next couple of days might not feel that way. Say goodbye to the icy wind, at least for the weekend. Kicking things off here with Calgary, we've got a high of 5 degrees and a low of -3. With partly cloudy skies, you can actually get out of your house and not bundle up. Taking things over to Jasper now, we have a similar situation as well. They have a high of 5 degrees and a low of -3 with cloudy skies as well. Perfect weather, in my opinion, to go skiing down those slopes. Taking things up north to Fort McMurray now, they're not going to be experiencing the same weather that we are. They've got a high of -11 and a low of -17 with a 60% chance of flurries. So you guys better bundle up. And taking things home to Edmonton here, we have mostly cloudy skies with a high of 3 degrees and a low of -1. And honestly, if we take a look at the average highs and lows for this time of year, we are actually above average. The average high for this time of year is actually -3, and the average low is -12, meaning that we're actually doing better than we have in the past. And talking about the past, the record highs and lows for this time of year, back in 1991, we had a record high of 9 degrees and a record low of -41 in 1887. So we better be counting our blessings that we're even seeing plus weather this time of year. And honestly, I don't know if I believe that groundhog or not, but I'm really hoping we can see some spring sooner. This has been weather. Back to you guys.
NewsWatch weather sponsored by NR92 Campus Radio.
This season, we're partnering up with the Nugget once again to bring back the question of the week.
The responses were great last semester, and we're looking forward to hearing from you again.
This week's question is, how are you budgeting for the increased cost of living? Tell us your thoughts by commenting on the NAIT Nuggets question of the week post on Instagram at the NAIT Nugget for a chance to win a prize. You know, Sienna, they say new year, new me, but in the studio, we actually say new month, new sports. And let me tell you, there's no shortage of sport action to go around.
You're so right, Cavell. There's so many intriguing storylines to follow, and our Omran Wahidi has more on sports.
Thanks, guys. It's a great time to be a sports fan with so much on the horizon. They say records are made to be broken. Well, some certainly take longer than others, but for NAIT Ook's goaltender Caitlin Slater, she's on track to put her name in the history books. In her 5th season with the NAIT Ooks, Caitlin Slater is just 7 games away from breaking the record of 46 wins to hold the most wins all time in ACAC women's hockey, a record that hasn't been broken since 2019 when MacEwan University's Sandy Heim broke the record last.
I think that's a super cool experience that obviously I'm looking forward to and striving for. There's other bigger goals that I would want at the end of the day, but having those personal ones is nice as well.
The women's team has just 8 games remaining in their schedule, with their next game coming up Saturday against their Alberta rival, SAIT. The NAIT Ooks men's hockey team tries something new with their addition of their assistant coach to the starting roster. Our Nate Fraser has more on that.
Josh Lazowski, former assistant coach of the Ooks, is now side by side with the same players he's taught.
A little bit strange off the bat, but it's actually been a pretty seamless transition. My relationship with them was kind of more player-player relationship while I was coaching. So since I've gone into the dressing room, it's been pretty natural, nothing too uncomfortable. I feel like a part of the team already.
Lazowski adds more than just leadership on the ice. He's won the ACAC championship twice in his career, and when he last played for NAIT up until 2015, he had 85 points in just 60 total games.
Anytime you see a guy go out there and give it his all, I mean, it's just a contagious effect. So seeing a guy like Laz come into the room and in the game just kind of give it his all is definitely carries on to the rest of the team. So I definitely would say he's had a positive impact so far.
Lazowski plans to stay off the bench to play out the rest of his career.
I had thoughts of going professional, and I didn't do that when I was younger. So I think right now, that's kind of in the back of my mind as I'd like to move on, maybe go somewhere south, maybe somewhere in Europe and do something like that. If this goes well, that's kind of the idea right now.
For Lazowski and the Ooks, it's going pretty well so far. Lazowski has 4 points in just 4 games this season. continuing his elite play style from nearly a decade ago. Nate Fraser, NewsWatch Sports.
The Edmonton Oil Kings are finding a bright spot in what seems to be a down year for the club as they name their 15th captain in franchise history. Fort Saskatchewan product Rhett Melnick was named the captain of the Edmonton Oil Kings in his first season with the club after being traded to the team in August. Rhett is on his way to a career year, putting up a career-high 11 goals and is just 1 point shy of matching his previous best of 23 points.
It's a huge honor. This is a great organization, and I'm super honored to be the next captain here, and can't wait to see what the future holds for us. And I think we got a good group of boys, and super excited to get going.
The Oil Kings and their new captain will get set for their next game against the Calgary Hitmen on Saturday. Rivalries from across the globe are heating up the city, with the world's oldest international curling event taking place in Sherwood Park. The Strathcona Cup Tour began 120 years ago. It's a tradition that dates back to 1902, with Canada facing off against Scotland in an event that brings out fierce competition and a friendly rivalry that burns to this day.
Absolutely. I think it's all, the event today is about fun and camaraderie and meeting some of our curling friends from across the pond, but it's also something that we hope at the end of the day Canada will come out on top.
Canada has won the Cup 12 times to Scotland's 10 and will look to add another to their total when the tournament wraps up with its last stop in Ottawa. It was an absolutely jam-packed week of sports, but have you tried taking up curling before?
I've never tried it. I've thought about doing it. It seems as if it would be really, really fun.
You know, I think I tried it when I was like 12, but I have never done it since. So I'm down to give it a whirl if you guys are after the show.
Definitely. Thanks, Amran.
Thanks, guys.
That's Amran Wahidi with sports. Coming up after the break, we take a look at getting a tarot reading for the first time.
Do you really believe that somebody could read our futures?
Maybe, but there's only one way to find out, Sienna, and I'm waiting for someone to spill that tea.
Let's see what after this break.
I'm Mackenzie Mazinkowski, and coming up, we take a look at a fun outdoor celebration of French and Indigenous culture, as well as we see what Jubilation's Dinner Theater has in store for us this week. All of that and more coming up in entertainment.
NewsWatch music provided by Martin Mayer Productions.
Interest into the unknown grows every day, and some may want insight on their journey through life, even if it's just for some advice.
Join our very own Rebecca Warwick on our debut of Try This as we take you guys into the mystical world of tarot cards.
Would you want to know your future if it was laid out before you? It's my first in-person tarot card reading, and I'm feeling excited and maybe a little nervous. And with popularity of tarot continuing to rise, I know that I just have to give it a try. So today, I'm at the Russian Tea Room to get my own personal tarot reading. Anthony Hicks is a psychic reader who's been giving readings at the Russian Tea Room for 9 years, and he's going to give me some direction and advice by reading my palm, my tarot cards, my personal numerology, and my tea leaves.
Everything's vibration, everything is connected. It's the more you get down the rabbit hole, the more you see energy behind everyone and everything, and it's like you need to open yourself up with love as much as possible.
When you go in for a reading, you have to be ready to get into the nitty-gritty. It's personal to whoever is being read, and you'll get advice in different areas of your life. The cards you can get mean different things depending on your situation. The Ten of Swords can mean an abrupt ending or feeling pain from past situations. It can mean you need to allow change and not resist it. The King of Cups can mean that one should remain emotionally mature when faced with negativity from others. It can also mean that you're level-headed. The Emperor can mean that you should be in leadership roles, or that you focus on supporting your family a lot.
Whether you're interested in looking into the mystic, from tarot cards to crystals, or you just want a little bit of advice, maybe getting a tarot reading is the thing to try for you. For NAIT NewsWatch, I'm Becca Warak.
Now that's how you enjoy the winter. Have a warm cup of tea as someone reads your fortune in a beautiful cafe.
Absolutely. There's not much I like to do now that the weather's cold. However, this weekend it looks like it's going to be warming up, and our entertainment host has a few fun activities that will have you out and about.
Let's toss it over to Mackenzie.
Thanks, guys. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming up in entertainment that you can check out this weekend. I had the opportunity to explore an interactive outdoor celebration of French and Indigenous culture that is still lighting up the streets of Edmonton. The Flying Canoe Festival shares the stories of French Canadian, First Nation, and Métis cultures through abundant illuminated trails, creating an interactive winter adventure for all ages. Kids can ride the slopes, while others cozy up by the warm outdoor fires. You can also take part in traditional French-Canadian food and drink.
By sharing story, by sharing our love of our culture and our love of our music, and actually inviting people to join the dance, I think we're breaking down barriers.
The festival runs until tomorrow, so if you haven't had the chance to check out this cultural winter display, there's still time. Jubilation's Dinner Theater is cooking up some good comedy along with some good food. They're putting their own musical spin on a modern TV classic. The Office, a rock parody, opens tonight, and in addition to live entertainment, guests are served a 4-course meal. The show is suitable for all ages and includes several top 40 rock classics. You can also expect to be invited on stage to interact with actors in the show.
We do like interactive dinner theater, and we have done since we started, and that's part of the fun of it. It's almost like a carnival atmosphere, and all the people who are serving you your food, which is a 4-course meal, are all in character based on the theme and the world of the show. So there's like a world that we want to create and immerse the people who come to the show in. At the moment that they come in the doors, they'll be greeted with people who are completely in character the whole time.
The show runs until April 9th, and tickets can be purchased online at jubilations.ca/Edmonton. Earlier, we told you about Black History Month on campus. As part of that, an interactive game is celebrating the Black community at NAIT and brings awareness to Black history education. Our own Nora Mohammed has more on this story.
You are correct. Afrofacts Trivia is an annual event educating students about Black history, trivia, and pop culture. Afrofacts founder Laila Penda asks teams to answer a question. She follows every answer with insight about the topic of discussion. Penda created the game after a realization in her education.
I did not learn anything about Black history. And any Black history that I did know, I had learned from TV or commercials and was based on American Black history. So I wanted to educate my friends because they also hadn't learned anything, and all of my friends don't look like me.
Afrofacts hopes to introduce people to Black history and provide people some educational content with respect to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
I come from a place where discrimination against Black people is in the minority. It's a very small fact of life, and my exposure to this type of racism has been minimal.
Afrofacts wants to change the world through education, collaboration, and communication.
Immerse yourself in Black culture, but let this be only a starting point. Don't let your interest end at the end of the month. Allow it to continue, because there's so much more there that a month is not able to contain.
If you want to learn more about the backstory of Afrofacts or to learn more about Black History Month, you can go to afrofacts.ca. I'm Nora Mohammed, NAIT NewsWatch.
Local media personalities made a splash last month for the premiere of the new IMAX 3D film. Secrets of the Sea is a new ocean adventure that dives deep into how marine creatures interact with each other and their environments. Taking place in 14 different locations, the film emphasizes the importance of protecting marine life and keeping the oceans clean.
films in general are really important to get people interested in the oceans and conservation, because a lot of people have never even been to the ocean. And even if they have, they've probably never seen a blue whale. So documentaries are the way that most people are going to become familiar with these creatures.
The show runs until March 23rd, and tickets are available online at tellusworldofscienceedmonton.ca. Well, the GOAT of football has done it again. Tom Brady announced for a second time that he is hanging up his cleats for good. Convenient timing for his fans, though, as a new movie is out that celebrates the 45-year-old quarterback, and age is once again center stage. But in this case, it's some well-known female fans who are taking the spotlight as 80 for Brady hits theaters.
Game's about to start. Oh, there's Tom. Oh, what a beautiful man. I like Ron.
80 for Brady is a tale of four best friends living their golden years to the fullest when they embark on a wild trip to see their Super Bowl hero Tom Brady play live. The film was originally inspired by a real-life group of Patriot fans known as the Over 80 for Brady Club, and it was the grandson of one member that pitched the idea for a film.
These are my dancers.
Prove it.
What dance moves you ladies know? A twist. A jerk? Let's do it. Hooray!
The Paramount film opens today. Look for this hit comedy in theaters. And if you're a fan, we've got some swag to give away. We've got this foam finger and a movie embroidered scarf and mittens for anyone who can answer how many Super Bowls Tom Brady has won in his career. If you know the answer, go to our NAIT NewsWatch Instagram and comment the answer on our 80 for Brady post to win. We'll pick a winner at random, and if you win, we'll let you know how to collect your prize. Unfortunately, guys, you can't enter the contest. I'm sorry, Cavell. I know what a huge fan you are.
Clutching my invisible pearls over here. Like, I'm a huge basketball fan, guys. Like, seriously. Like.
Yeah, we keep up with sports just about as much as we keep up with politics.
Ain't that the truth?
That's all we have for you guys at home tonight.
To hear more on tonight's stories, visit naitnewswatch.ca. We hope to see you next time. Good night.